And does that automatically hit the record?
Yeah, it's recording now.
Awesome.
Okay, and we're live. So guess we'll give it about 60 seconds. Okay, I guess we'll start. Hi, it's Charlie Zeiss with Stargate Pyramids. Welcome to another live stream of Pyramid Quest today, January 20th, 2020. Joining me are Laurie Sasson and Bill McKenzie. Laurie just got back from a trip, so we're grateful that she came back to Omaha in one piece without sliding off the road.
That's right.
I did that a couple of years ago, heading off to Wisconsin in January, and so I'm glad that it didn't happen to her. Today, for the first time, we are going live with our live stream. And for those of you who would like to join us in real time, you can join us on zoom.us, and we printed out that URL for you, but it's zoom.us/J/771097853. You'll see that on my Stargate Pyramid page as well. So we look forward to those of you who can do so to join in.
We got Tom.
I think we have Tom, yes.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Tom. And how are you today, Tom?
Doing good.
Good.
Please tell me it's warmer than 0 degrees.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Maybe 60.
I'm going to send some of my weather your way. If you could just send me some of your 60.
I'll do that.
Yeah, just a few. Well, I guess what we're going to do today, until more people show up, Tom, what we're hoping to do here is to have this, and to others that join, be a way to discuss some of these topics that we've been discussing kind of via question and answer on a live basis. So until we get more people on board here, I think what I would like to do would be to first start by showing a video a good friend of mine sent to me yesterday. And it's actually someone that a lot of you may be familiar with. His name is Sadhguru. He's a guru from India. And he recently put out a video discussing pyramid meditation. And I wanted to play that for everyone so that we could all have a chance to discuss that. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to open that up and put that on now for discussion. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Oops. Get back to the beginning here. So this is the URL. So oops, it didn't work.
And sometimes you can just go into your YouTube. Oh, there it goes. And
Yeah.
just look at the history of it, and it'll bring it back
That's a
up.
good point. So anyway, this is only about 4.5 minutes long, so we'll watch this and then we can comment on it.
Who became meditative in a pyramid structure? Pyramid was created to keep the dead. Pyramids were built for the dead, not for the living. Yes. If you build a pyramid, even if you make a paper pyramid, you can experiment with this. A pyramid should have an angle of 56 degrees at the top, all the four angles. If you make a pyramid with exact 56 degrees, even a simple paper pyramid, you take a vegetable. If it's in a tropical climate, you can check this very easily. Suppose there's a vegetable or a fruit which would normally rot in 3 or 4 days. Take it, place it in one place and a paper pyramid, ensuring that the angles are correct. Keep it on it. Leave it for a week or 10 days. You open and see there will be no rotting process. It will be shriveled up, but there will be no rotting. Because there are 5 manifestations of prana. One of them is called as Vyana. Vyana prana, these are prana, apana, udana, samana and Vyana. There are 5 manifestations of energy within the system. Vyana is in charge of the preservative nature of the body. So if you create a pyramidal form, this Vyana gathers and naturally something can be preserved for a long time. You heard of the mummies, even their epithelial cells are still kept that way. They also did lots of work. It's a lot of nasty work. Have you seen a mummy in reality? Have you been to Egypt? They did lots of work on preserving the dead because of some fancy beliefs that they had. But it is essentially about preservation. No, I know a lot of people, pyramid societies are promoting you can meditate under a pyramid. Pyramid is not for meditation. Pyramid for is keeping the dead. If you want to preserve your great-grandfather, you can build a pyramid. But I would say, why bother the dead? Leave the dead to the dead. The living are your concern, isn't it? Yes. This one and the other ones around you, the living or should be your concern, not the dead. Pyramid is for the dead. Some, I don't know what to call them. Such people are promoting pyramid as a meditative process. Pyramid has nothing to do with meditation. Okay. You need to understand. Meditation is not some kind of an act. It is a certain quality. If you cultivate your body, if you cultivate your mind, if you cultivate your emotions and your energy to a certain level of maturity, meditation will blossom. You can't stop it. You try hard and try to meditate, you will lose your 2 marbles that you have in your head, that will also fall off. Yes. You do not try to flower. You learn to do gardening. Flowers will happen. Yes? You do not try to do flowers. If you try to do flowers, you will end up with plastic flowers. You will not have flowers. You learn gardening. If you want rose flowers in your garden, you don't think roses. You think soil, you think manure, you think water, you think sunlight, isn't it? Like that. You think body, you think mind, you think emotion, you think energy. Do something about it. You will become meditative.
Got an app.
Well, and that was it. That was done, I think it's, on the 15th. So this was last week. And as I say, someone told me about this. As you can see, I'm scrolling down the page here. I have done a somewhat lengthy response to this, because I don't really buy any of this, but I want to open this up for conversation. And to say that all pyramids, or at least the ones in Giza, I don't have any question that the Giza geometry maybe isn't right, but here's another comment. With all due respect to your spiritual messages, what you said about the pyramid is not accurate at all. And I would agree. There are other people that say similar things here. He did not get any real positive response from this video. So, I was just gonna. With that said, I wanted to open it up and let those of you in the audience and Bill and Lori comment on this. So, anyone who wants to start off, be my guest. And by the way, I want to welcome Michael Phillips to the group. Michael, welcome.
Hi, Michael.
Hello. Can you hear? Can you hear us?
I'm not sure you can. But going back to the video, what is it that you don't agree about? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, I mean, it seemed to me that he was making a kind of a categorical statement that pyramids were not beneficial in meditation, and I just don't agree with that. To me, meditation is an attempt to get connected to your higher self, and I think
right.
that at least this geometry of pyramid does that very thing. So
right. I would agree with that. Yeah.
He mentioned something about a 56-degree angle as well, and I could not figure out at all where that 56-degree angle came from, because I'm pretty familiar with the angles on all these, and I couldn't come up with it. So, I'm just curious to find out what other folks think about all that.
Right. Got audio.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on, man? Great afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Were you able to watch that video, Michael?
Yes, I did, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I only watched one with the base to height ratio. I didn't watch all three. You mentioned three, but I just gave the numbers to a friend of mine and see what he kind of thought about it. And he was trying to turn me on to like something like you were using in the video, some type of calculating app for that, because I'm not really good with numbers. But I got a few ideas. I got somebody that actually one of my real questions was when I mentioned the 76.345 to a friend, he said the second decimal point in something like that is like the 20th of a human hair. So it really baffles me on how they got so accurate back then.
Well, of course, that's a good question. How did they get all of these things as accurate as they did? Obviously, you almost have to believe, I think, that there was an advanced knowledge base there that, assisted mankind with this information, and we were talking about this on camera, that we truly have had civilizations on this planet maybe multiple times before that had far greater knowledge than we currently do today. So it could be any number of those. So
yeah, sure.
Robert, are you there?
Hyperboreans and things like that.
Robert, are you there?
Yes, I am.
We can't see you.
Okay, yeah, I'm doing a couple of things, but I have your volume up.
Oh, okay, okay.
I did not see those videos that you guys were discussing, Charlie. I don't know if you tried to email them to me or not.
No, I just showed them on screen.
Yeah.
but-
Bottom line, Robert, is just this guru said if you're meditating under a 56-degree pyramid, it is not doing you any good. That's there to preserve the dead. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got a better slant angle, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Well, and I think that's the point I tried to make in the comments, that, you know, I would agree that geometry of the Giza pyramid is not the right one, but
Right.
maybe my interpretation was wrong, but I thought he was throwing out the baby with the bathwater and just kind of saying that any pyramid wasn't going to be beneficial, but that may not have been what he meant to say. I don't
Well,
know.
and I feel like he was mainly talking about the main popular one that everyone always
Yeah.
discuss. And
Well,
like
and
I
that's-
said, people are always obsessed with the dead, so it doesn't surprise me that people are walking around with these tombs, these pyramids that are tombs, you know, essentially.
Sure. And, you know, you and Bill have tested,
That's not exactly right, because they've never found a body inside the Giza pyramid. It was never used or intended, from what we can tell, to be a tomb.
Not right now.
Yeah.
Also, also the bodies are so well reserved in the Valley of Kings. They're so well preserved.
Right.
right.
true.
So,
You know, in other pyramid angles or situations also.
yeah. So we've got two other folks who are listening, Peter Backshaw and Eric Crum online on the YouTube channel. If you'd like to, feel free to join us if you follow the link that I've got posted there on the YouTube page. You can join us live. But Eric is saying, yes, the ancient builder race was here millions of years ago. They built transparent aluminum pyramids all over the solar system. And Peter Bagshaw says, happy Monday. Who's the new face? Well, there's
several.
There's several. Yeah, I was going to say. Well, the only one that is visible, so he must be
Right.
talking about Michael. So,
Oh,
so that's fine.
So, Michael, do
Right.
you have a Russian pyramid?
Hold on, let me show you what I'm just sitting next to. Now, I made this like the other night. Let me see if you get a good if you like to douse it or anything. Not
Oh,
quite,
that's fantastic.
not quite probably the exact
Can you
exact
go
formula.
down just slightly? Can you angle down a
Sure.
little bit more? There we go. Is that wood?
Yes.
Oh, great. Great. Michael, are you a farmer?
I have a few more. No.
Well, with that size, you can
No.
you can test some little herbs and things like that to see how well they grow underneath that.
Well, I was gonna see. Actually, my insight led me to put some bananas because I like bananas. Put some bananas in there and put some, outside of it and see how long they last.
Oh,
Just to
that's
see
a good
how well
idea.
Well, that's
that
an
they're
excellent
preserved.
idea. We've
Because they
done
go
that
quick. The bananas.
experiment. We've done that experiment, Michael, and it does work. So, look forward to having you verify those results. But yeah, when we did it, we put some random fruits and vegetables, lettuce, banana, tomatoes, grapes, some other things on there, and it lasted 2 to 3 times as long under the pyramid. So it works as expected. So
As advertised.
as advertised as well. So,
Very nice.
so all of that is good. So, Tom, do you you're muted, but do you have any comments, Tom?
Yeah, I have a question that I was meaning to ask for a while. I think the answer is I know the answer, but does a pyramid in and around the pyramid reduce the effects of decay cycle type organisms like mold or even termites? Does it repel or reduce those type of organisms?
I get it reduces them.
Same with you, Bill?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, another thing I wanted to do today while we've got time is to share with you some information that I've received as well from a researcher. I think those of you who saw last week remember this individual sent us some information on his experimentation. So let me pull up our slides for today, and we can go through some further slides that he's brought for us. Can you guys see my page?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to review because I've got some new slides here for those of you who maybe didn't see last week. But this individual had done some research, and I wanted to go through it now. He took some glass containers with distilled water and put them at various distances from the pyramid outdoors when it was freezing. And what he did was to add a few drops of food coloring to the distilled water. And he had sent us these photos as part of the demonstration. We didn't know if he had stirred up that dye, and I'll confirm here in a minute that he had done that. But this is a picture of, looks like a Pyrex glass bowl that he put out into the pasture, it looks like, or the farm field at some distances away from the pyramid. And as you can see, the red dye actually came back into the center of the water. And here's an even closer view of that. And you can see that there are some, as he called them, red whiskers that are kind of coming out from the center. And his theory was that this was due to a vortex type energy field coming from the earth that is kind of forcing that red dye back into the middle of the bowl. So with that as background, he wrote back to me this last week, and he said the following. He wrote this just yesterday. So the food dye added to all the experiments are thoroughly mixed into the distilled water. I'm using distilled water because my well water has some iron content that I thought might adversely affect the outcome of water experiments. I've not, as of yet, done adequate testing between distilled and well water to verify. Question that comes up around the pH level of the water and how that might affect the formations, that he's going to be testing as well. He says in the next paragraph on the bottom, another typical feature in a well-formed ice experiments besides the food dye is a significant bulge at the top of the ice formation, rising up approximately 1/2 inch and tapering to the edge. This bulge is often cracked in a perfect cross. He says, I'm wondering if these cracks indicate magnetic north, south, etc. So I don't know if you guys could kind of douse for that question.
Well, I don't get it. It's doing the directions like he's saying. But I find that interesting. That was a thought.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that the cross has to do with the amount of power that it's producing, something with power.
Okay. All right. And then going on, he said, what has been verified in at least 6 experiments is that a container of distilled water with a lid that is, quote, in the snow and slightly covered due to drifting has finer whiskers or a smoother surface and a smoother surface and has a less compressed oblong core containing the food dye. The core contains liquid water even at temperatures of 15 degrees, a negative 15 degrees centigrade. So let's read that again. The core contains liquid water even at temperatures of minus 15 degrees Celsius. Now, I don't want to minimize that because this is the first time that I have heard of someone successfully essentially replicating the work that Dr. Golod did in Russia, where he put water bottles under the pyramid, and these were much larger pyramids, but they were able to keep the water in a liquid state down to about 30 to 35 degrees, minus 35 degrees Celsius. So this seems to be confirming, those kinds of results, which I think is pretty fascinating. Going down to the bottom of this page, he says, a friend sent me two photos of ice pillars growing from the top of an ice cube. This is clear evidence of this upward energetic action of the torsion field, in my opinion. The only reason for this occurring at my friend's house is the Phi pyramid that I built for them is that's 16 inches tall and covered in broken pieces of ceramic tile in a mosaic designed to dress it up a bit. The tile may actually give the pyramid energies a boost as it contains silica sand. If I'm not mistaken, I see you like adding crystal and sand to your PVC pyramids. Any thoughts on that? And then my friend tells me these unusual columns are still forming. I'd love to see the look on someone's face when they find one of these in their scotch on the rocks. Anyway, I wanted to show these pictures now. So from what I can tell, as you can see, there are these two ice cubes and these two trays, and they are literally been able to freeze in an upward direction, and similar to a stalagmite, I guess, in a cave. But here, from my understanding, this water was under a pyramid, perhaps outside, and actually, froze, essentially defying gravity in an upward direction. So I'm going to kind of open this one up and see what people think about that.
Can you show the larger view of it? And I mean, that's so close into it. Can you show the other one?
This
there
one?
you go.
Yeah.
So Charlie, does he specify what temperature that?
He didn't on these. I think a friend of his took these, and he didn't say, but it sounded like these were all, certainly, I mean, he had referenced temperatures of 10 to 20 degrees below 0 centigrade. So.
No.
So I'm not sure.
It's that Fahrenheit, like 5 degrees.
Well, I know that at 30 degrees, minus 30 degrees centigrade and Fahrenheit are about the same.
They are.
So, it's going to be somewhere, around maybe minus 10 Fahrenheit, I'm going to guess, or 0 Fahrenheit.
Well, doesn't get that cold around here.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's certainly cold enough to cause some serious freezing. So I don't have any good thoughts on what may actually be.
The temperature is what I'm trying to get at. Is it more due to the temperature and the pyramid? I mean, because if it's only 10 degrees, will this happen? Does it need to be 10 below for this to happen?
Well, and that's the other thing I'm wondering. So at the same time that this is still frozen and freezing, does it somewhat heat it up and then it's able to form this as it's heating up? I mean, I talk about as I stand taller at the top of the pyramid that, I have a sensation that it feels like I'm running and I'm getting a fast-paced heart rate. I'm kind of curious, where was this in the pyramid that it might have, created this. And the other thing is, if it was warmer weather, maybe it does this, but you can't get the actual photograph of it unless you're doing a constant photograph every second to see what it might be doing,
Yeah,
right?
I wonder how long it took to do this, because I mean, he could just throw in a you know, a camera, a video camera, and actually, you know, film it.
Yeah,
being formed.
yeah, sure,
That would be cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have answers to those questions, but
JD,
Maybe,
if you're listening, please,
yeah, give us more information.
please
Yeah, he does.
talk to
He
us.
does some cool stuff.
He's really doing some very cool stuff. Absolutely. So, so anyway, that's you know, some interesting research, and we hope to continue to see people doing research of this type, and you know, when you do, we're always happy to share it with the people listening in. So. Something this is off topic a little bit, but you may remember several weeks ago, I had done some, I'd shown some pictures of the inside of the Iranian Parliament building and demonstrated that this geometry of the Stargate Pyramid, the Russian pyramid, is actually depicted behind the podium in their Parliament building. I just wanted to show you, because I think this is kind of an interesting point that will demonstrate that a lot of this information is becoming harder and harder to find on the internet. When I looked up pictures for the Iranian Parliament building 6 months ago, there were hundreds of them. And now when I go to the very same Bing search results, I can hardly find any at all. And it seems to be a function of the browser that I'm using. So I'm showing you now, I don't know if you can see it. This, what I typed in was Iranian government building interior. And as you'll see on the front page here, I got absolutely nothing when I did the Bing search on Google Chrome. But when I do the same thing on Firefox, I at least get one of the pictures of the inside of the Parliament building. But I'm getting other answers, and I'm using exactly the same search terms, Iranian government building interior. So something's telling me that this kind of information is going to start to become harder and harder to find, because it's not there like it used to be, number one, and number two, it seems to be a function as well of the browser that you use, not just the search engine, because this is, again, a Bing search. So just something to, you know, to remember as you go forward, because this stuff is, as people become more and more aware of it, I think it's going to become more and more difficult to search this out. So we've got some other pictures, I guess, that we could go through now. I don't think we've looked at the DNA structure before, but some time ago, I found this picture of DNA on the website or on the internet, and actually got out the app and measured it. And this is 3-dimensional, so it's pretty hard to do, but it seems as though the slant angle of DNA matches perfectly as well. So I'm going to throw that question out, I guess, to Lori and Bill to see if the you know, what they're getting from that. But I think that's an amazing correspondence, that the slant angle of the DNA would be the same as that of the pyramid.
Well, they're always saying our body is in constant motion of healing itself. And this would be the explanation within our own DNA of how it's probably doing it.
I would think so, because I think the spiraling motion would be, you know, in exact correspondence with the DNA. And
but also the degree, correct?
And the
This-
degree, that's right. It's
Yeah,
70,
yeah.
76.32 degrees. That's as close as I
Mhm.
could get it. But that's within the margin of error of the ability to use this thing. So it looks like it could have some significance.
That's harmony. That's harmony.
Yeah. Now here's some other examples that I found recently as well of this geometry in modern day architecture. And this is a contemporary office building in Saudi Arabia called the Faisalia Center. And I thought it was interesting at the bottom of the pyramid is built as the building is also designed as a pyramid, but this top section here seems to also conform to this geometry. Yeah, I've been doing some research, and I'm going to continue to do it until I feel comfortable doing a video on this. But there's a lot of this architecture that seems to not only show up in contemporary architecture, but also obviously in ancient architecture. And there's a lot of theories out there, including one that I'm exploring about Tartarian Empire, an empire that extended over vast parts of the globe that's essentially been suppressed. And it seems as though they knew about this as well. So I'm just, what's interesting to me is this globe or ball here. And I'm wondering if, in the context of my other research that I'm doing, whether you guys are getting any sort of feeling that this is some sort of an energy related phenomenon or device.
Is this center some kind of like financial place? Do you know anything about the center?
I wish I did, and I don't.
Okay.
I didn't do the research into the building itself. Well, if not, maybe I can do some more research, on this in the future and come back to it.
Yeah, I feel like it's bringing in abundance. I asked if it was some kind of crystal. I don't get that. But I feel like for whatever reason, whatever that is, it is creating some kind of abundance for the building.
Okay. Here's another example of contemporary architecture. This one's in North Korea. And this is actually a hotel that has been under construction for a number of years, but apparently is in final stages of completion. And once again, we're seeing the same exact geometry in the building of this pyramid, or excuse me, of this hotel building. And what's interesting as well, the top of the pyramid seems to have this a similar layered effect to some of the temples, for example, at the Masonic temples. The George Washington National Masonic Temple in DC has this kind of look, as does a number of the Mormon temples in Utah. So I'm finding it curious that we're finding this kind of architecture and this geometry outside of the United States, but not necessarily in the United States. We got it in Iran, North Korea, Saudi Arabia, but not in the United States. So,
do you know who the architect was of this building?
No, I don't. It's built in
We
North Korea.
can probably find that we can probably find that in Wicca, right? Maybe, possibly.
Maybe. But this is.
I think they destroyed a whole mountain in order to create that. I remember seeing something a little controversial. Don't remember too much about it, but that may be something that you want to look into. Older images of it had like a mountain right next to it, and like now I see this, and it's very different looking.
Yeah. Well, I just find it's fascinating that we're seeing this geometry in the countries that we seem to not be friendly with a lot.
Well,
so,
and what's so
except
interesting,
for Saudi Arabia.
I don't find that this is a positive place. I don't know what Bill is getting, but I don't feel it's positive.
Are you getting anything, Bill?
Well, I mean, clearly the geometry is positive, but not the building itself.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And who's going to these hotels? Other North Koreans or are people invited?
Dennis Rodman.
Oh, okay. All right.
Considering how much larger this hotel is than anything else around it,
It's huge.
I have to think that it has something to do with tourism.
How high it is, Charlie?
I don't know, Bill. No.
That's just.
It's massive. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But you can see here, I mean, we've got some traditional buildings here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is about a 12-story building right here, this white one. So, I mean, what are you thinking? 50 floors, something like that, at least.
Huge.
Yeah, so it's a big facility. So I've
Look
seen
at the-
pictures of it from the other side, and I'm not sure that it's actually a four-sided pyramid. So I think it's much thinner.
Maybe a 3? You're thinking maybe a 3?
Well, I think it's just thinner on the backs, on the sides. So
Interesting.
sort of like the Hindu temples.
So that thing is 1,000 feet tall, 330 meters.
Oh, did you look it up?
330 meters, huh? 133, or that's like, 33. We know.
10,
We know.
1,008 feet.
Wow.
And
How many feet?
say that again.
1,000.
1,008 feet. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
9.
okay.
It's 9. The 9. Divine 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in the architecture everywhere. All these pyramids, and also with the coordinate or the ratios and things like that you gave me, Charlie. Yeah, it's all 3s and 9s and 6s, or 3s and 6s. Within their own Stargate pyramid design. It's it's embedded in there, the 3 and the 6.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but this is the Washington Monument obelisk in Washington, D.C. And we've previously discussed some other obelisks. The top of this has the geometry of the Stargate pyramid as well, 76.345 degree slant angle. And Lori, I know you've tested other obelisks. If you can test this one as well and see what kind of energy you feel that's putting off. I'm focused on it, and I'm getting my little pains in my nipples.
Well,
So-
then you already know what that means. You
I
say
do.
that means it's negative.
That's right. That's right.
You
The
feel it
Charlie
in your
indicator.
Well,
yeah. You
We
feel
all
it in
have
your
something.
forehead. I feel it in my root and sacral chakra. So, it it's to me, I'm being told it's an occult kind of thing, that it's
Is it Masonic?
Yes. Yes, look at the W and the M in the title. The first letter of each word in Washington Monument are 3s. They're depicted as symbols as 3s. The W and the M, which are inverted, right there, could be depicted as 3s, turned and inverted different ways, but they don't represent a 3 in certain numerological interpretations, but in some they do.
and I get it's a meaning of more satanic is what I'm getting.
Sure. I can see that.
So you wanna change the energy?
Please do.
yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, let's see what we can do with this.
I know I'm feeling a difference.
Also, look at the landscape architecture design. You know, I mean, we can't get a full depiction, but I mean, look at it. I mean, you can see certain things, you know, and that's also one way that they, you know, form certain. How can I explain it? They put their, I guess you could say, hiding in plain sight. They divulge certain plans in landscape architecture as well.
Mhm.
Yes. And on ley lines usually.
Yes, that's what I was gonna get to about the look into the coordinates of that last Korean thing. Look into the coordinates of that, you know, latitude, longitude, things like that. You know, what ley lines it's on and everything. I'm sure it
Right.
has something to do with the reason why they picked that exact spot to build that big ass hotel. Because, like I said, I've seen pictures of it before, and it seemed like it was a very extensive, labor-heavy process in order to put that right there.
Yes.
You know, just for removing of like whatever earth formations were there previous.
The Egyptian company Orascom Group was the one making the deal, $400 million deal with North Korea to build this.
Oh, really? Okay.
No
An
coincidence.
Egyptian
Yeah.
company. Interesting.
Mhm.
That's surprising, though, right?
Here,
Well,
Here's a-
there must be some information that they're leaving out that it's significant and it means something, but they won't tell the people what it is.
that's my feeling. When I see a big edifice like that being built with that geometry, I think there's something that the public's not being told.
Can we ask the records?
To me, this is something where they talk about destruction of people and people that'll die. So that's what I'm getting.
How will they die?
Government policy, apparently.
Yeah, something like that.
I have a question from my research to ask about this monument. Was this
Okay.
monument built by, how do I want to say this? The people coming to America from England, or as opposed to a pre-existing, or was this built by a pre-existing culture prior to the arrival of Western Europeans?
Okay, what we're talking the hotel again?
No, I'm back to the monument.
Oh, by Washington Monument?
In other words, was this built by the so-called founders of America, or was this structure actually in existence prior to what we are believed to be the founding of DC? And I'm having trouble formulating the question, so I'm going to give you a little background. The information that I'm starting to get is that a lot of the cities in North America and around the world, particularly in North America, because we have this mythology that we came over and discovered America, when in fact there are many, many maps that predate Columbus that show the existence of major cities in North America. So some of the data is saying that, for example, that this obelisk was not built by Americans, but was built by a culture prior to the founding of Washington, D.C. as our nation's capital.
I
So I
get
don't
you
have a-
correct.
So you're
I
saying
get you
this
correct.
this was here before the city was even established?
Well, the city was apparently pre-existing,
Yeah.
and we've been told that we founded Washington, D.C. as you know, the new arrivals to this culture. But what I'm reading is that this could have been and probably was a city in the Tartarian Empire, and that this
Okay, so
this obelisk, predates.
was this monument built before Columbus discovered America? And I get
Oh,
it.
that's one way to put it.
And
Yeah.
I get a yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just squatters. We didn't, we may have built the roads and the infrastructure, but we're just squatters. We just showed up and, cleaned up a little bit. That's all.
Yeah.
And then claimed it all.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Sad though. Sad.
Well,
Very
there's a
sad. A lot
okay.
of karma there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
well, I can feel that there's been a clearing of the energy myself. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I don't feel it in my hips, my root or sacral chakra anymore.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on. Now, here's the next one. This is the George Washington National Masonic Temple, again in the DC area. I think it's actually just outside of DC. And this was built, George Washington was a Mason. And it seems like from my research that the Masons got a lot of their information from the Tartarian Empire and, may have been kind of the keepers of some of that secret knowledge. But we'll see once again at the top of the temple here, we've got the Stargate pyramid geometry with those same kind of step, or horizontal bars, whatever you want to call them, that we saw in that earlier photograph of the here, in Saudi Arabia, rather. So I guess I'll ask Lori to test this one as well. I don't think we've tried to adjust this energy from this temple before.
We did last week.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Well, either last week or the week before. I recall doing this already.
Okay.
Unless, Unless I dreamt about it.
You've done that, Charlie.
Yeah.
Also, did you check my comment about that on the numerology of it? Charlie, did you happen to catch that?
Well, why don't you tell us? I don't think I may have missed it.
Okay. Lori, I guess, came up with 12 to the second power, or 12 to the third. So I just did both of them, actually. And they were both equivalent and full of 33, 666, 144. And also, I guess, Bill, came up with 108, the number 108. And so I did the numerology to it, and which I posted on the YouTube. And I took a minute. Something told me, just throw a quick Google search in on the address, something just to see what's up, see the height of it. So the floor count was 9. The height of the actual top of the pyramid, I believe, was 33 feet, or 101 meters, which would be like 333, 333 feet. Something I don't have it all in front of me right now. But also the 101 meters of the 333 feet, the address was also 101 Callahan Drive. And then the main address, and the mailing address was 600 Carlisle Drive. So there you have the 101 for the 333, which is the 9, and the 6, which also is the inverted 9. And there's a few other things, but that was just something I touched on briefly. So in the architectural design, with the height and everything, it's all the numbers are in there. They're all embedded into it. So that's kind of goes back to what I was kind of getting to a little bit before in one of our earlier interactions about like the power of numbers and symbols in regard to sigil effects. But yeah, I feel like there's some intent that they put into the numbers as well as the names and everything, because, a lot of people in higher degrees of certain orders will change their name to fit a certain numerological, value. So
Right.
It made me think about my own name and things of that nature, and just, just how we use the English language in general, how much power it has, even though we don't know. Our own intent may be a certain way, but then intent embedded into the symbols and the number, all the signs and symbols, may be something completely different.
Right.
Got a question from the folks that are watching on YouTube. What was they were asking what the name of the hotel was? Did someone find that out from North Korea?
Oh yeah, it's called Ryung. Yeah, Ryung. RYUGYONG Hotel.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Charlie,
Okay.
That was good stuff, Michael.
This is a, what happened here? My apologies, folks.
Probably
Blowing up, Charlie.
put it on ring, vibrate.
Or
Yeah.
silence, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I turned down this is a temple or pagoda in Osaka, Japan that I noticed that had similar, has the same geometry as well. So, and here's another one, Buddhist temple. The more I learn about this, it seems as though some people are theorizing that these devices on the top of the Buddhist temples are in fact energy devices. So I don't know if anybody's getting anything from that, but I'm going to be
Energy or just a matter of consciousness. The higher you go, there's, when I look at consciousness, I go 1 to 12, and each one of them have 36 levels within each one of those. So as
Okay.
you're building your consciousness, you may be at 523, but you've got a long ways to go to get up to 12, the highest consciousness, 1236.
Well, clearly this is the geometry that we're using here. So I'm just throwing out that somebody's saying that this may have also been able to function in some energy capacity. I don't know.
Okay.
And the numbers that you just mentioned equal 9 in the divine 9. So
Right,
that
numerology. Yeah.
completely makes sense.
Okay. All right. And these are really just some other examples from Japan. Zen rock gardens also have this geometry, so it looks like kind of the same as the pagodas. They knew about this. Here's some pictures of some headwear from Hindu culture. This is Vishnu, and his hat has the same geometry in some of the Hindu temples. This is stuff we've kind of gone through before, but you're seeing this in any number of contexts. So,
hey, Charlie,
yes.
can you bring up a picture of the Tesla Wardenclyffe Tower?
I can try to do that. Yeah, let me get out of here, and I'll just go on Bing, and we'll find one.
Yeah, I was wondering whether that was taking advantage of the pyramid geometry, or was it purely structural?
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because I started to look at that. It looks to be a few degrees off, but let's check. Does anyone know how to spell it? W-A-R?
DENCLYFFE. Wardenclyffe, CLYFFE.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that in New Jersey?
I think this was in
Long Island.
Long Island, and then there was also possibly one in Colorado.
516 for the 3.
So, I'd have to do this in Chrome. I should have done it in Chrome to be able to use my MB ruler, but it looks pretty close.
Yeah, so I believe he's got a Tesla coil at the base, and then
Right.
the energy kind of gets beamed out from the top.
It like creates a coil energy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, I am resonating to that, kind of like a torque energy.
Yeah. So now this is the one from Long Island. Is that correct?
Well, the one that they're showing, if you look at TeslaUniverse.com, they show one, and it's similar to the diameter of the Russian pyramid. I would agree, Tom.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing that I have discovered when I was studying Hindu temples, they have a, I forgot the name of it. There's a lingam, I believe it is, that is in the center of the building, and it gets quite warm. It's metallic, and so it's almost as though the geometry of the temple is helping to create this heat, maybe causing current. There's a lot more to learn. So.
Oh, well, Tom, let me ask you this. What are you familiar with that tower?
So a Tesla coil is also called a pancake coil, which it's wound as a spiral.
Okay.
And that would be at the base. And then
right.
If he does take advantage of that structure, then the energy would be transmitted upwards in a coil to the top.
Is this tower currently being utilized?
No, it was torn down.
Okay, and why?
JP Morgan thought it interfered with a revenue stream of charging everybody for
JP Morgan owned all the copper mines, and he wanted to transmit the energy over copper wire, which is what happened.
Right.
So they suppressed this technology.
Right. They couldn't make money off of it.
It was free. Couldn't make money.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's the reason. So. All right. Well, we're getting to the top of the hour. What I think I'd like to do for the rest of the time, at least take a few minutes and kind of figure out what folks would like to do with this going forward. If there's anybody on, either online with us now who's got some thoughts on that, let me know, because we want to make this valuable for the people that are listening. And so we're interested in finding out if you have any thoughts on what you'd like to cover. So, Michael, I'll open it up with you if you have some thoughts on some specific topics that you might be interested in.
Sure. One that was definitely grabbed my attention was, and I think I sent the image to you, was the Opus One pyramid. But it doesn't look that much like a pyramid, but it's referred to, I believe, as the Black Pyramid. And it was, the architectural design as well as the building was Anton LaVey's design, and Robert Mondavi from Napa Valley. So
right.
I had a friend douse it, and he got a really balanced energy, but he had some insight to where that there was something blocking the dousing ability of it, so you couldn't get the true intention of the energy. But also about Napa Valley and its grapes and just the most fertile soil, they say, in North America, and its effects on that is whatever energy is being put out into that area. That's just something maybe Lori could try to look into, you as well, Bill.
Michael, you're talking to Opus One Winery?
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you, it's one of my favorite wines.
See, but they do good and bad though. They balance they try to get wholesomeness, you know what I mean? So
right.
Not everything, and it's the Rothschild headquarters, subterranean headquarters and whatnot.
No, I did not know that.
Michael, careful. Don't rain on Lori's parade now.
Oh man. Oh, sorry, Lori.
You know what? I haven't had it in years, but I used to have several in my winery, and hadn't opened it for years. And when we did, it was the best.
Well, yeah, here it's
great. So sad. There's probably something satanic in it. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, but embedded, but maybe it is doing good potential work for the soil and the vegetative growth in the area, and the fruiting you know, and the grapes and whatnot. It may be that energy may be doing something really well for that environment because, I mean, they're making money off of it. They're producing some of the best wine in the world, apparently, for high, you know, there's a really high return. So, you know, using this knowledge or whatever knowledge, you know, base that they have, they could have definitely said, okay, well, here's some really good soil. Let's turn this into a cash crop for sure, you know. So, I mean, you know, I'm just wondering what the effects were on the surrounding environment.
Well, that would be a great topic to look at.
Okay. Well, we can pull up a picture. We'll discuss that next week.
Right. Thank you.
And then Robert, Tom, do you guys have any thoughts, and people who are listening out there on YouTube?
Yeah, I'd like to see more plant growth type experiments inside and outside.
Okay.
Yeah, I would concur with Tom on the plant growth and people growth.
Well, we can certainly try to do those. Michael, I see that, I mean, you have built your own pyramid with wood.
Yeah.
And I know one of the topics that a lot of people keep asking me about is, you know, building a wooden pyramid, or, you know, there's a guy out on the West Coast, I think he's in Oregon, Precision Pyramids, and he builds them, but people have, you know, been asking about that. So, you know, I don't know if you'd want to take some time and maybe discuss how to build a wooden pyramid.
Well, I mean, the building part is, you know, fairly simple, obviously, but I mean, more of the effects is what I've been concerned with. I mean, this is a little bit larger than I've done previously, you know, and I have a friend of mine, me and him do it together. We hang out and make an event of it and whatnot. So there's like some good intent in there, obviously. And I'll tell you what, man, since I did this, I mean, I've been having very lucid dreams, very extremely lucid dreams, getting a lot of really good rest, which is something I probably needed. So yeah, I mean, like I said, this one is a 27-inch. I figured I'd put the 9 into the design, you know? So yeah, maybe, you know, you know, like I said, I try to straddle that fence with the whole numerology thing because I don't have a full grasp of it. So, but I just figured let's do 27. That's divine 9. So hopefully that's, you know, positive, you know. So, and I see it in all the rest of the architecture. So I figured if I put a good intent into it, not only just, you know, craftsmanship or whatnot, just some intent, you know, because like I want something positive from this, and I've invited positive energy into my life. You know, and I feel like that's something that maybe some people, I mean, maybe that's something maybe somebody might leave out while building a pyramid. Maybe that's an essential piece of it is, you know, just have, you know, forming your own intent of what you would like the pyramid to provide you, you know, the positive energy that can guide you and whatnot, different things like that. So, I mean, maybe some people should keep that in mind, have the right frame of mind and the right focus involved when they do make a pyramid. Because I feel like they, you know, definitely that's some part of it that maybe somebody could possibly leave out.
Okay. Here's a couple more questions from the folks on YouTube. Have you tried putting a wine bottle inside the pyramid? I mean, I've done that, not for others because I don't drink, but there is definitely a difference in the taste when you put a bottle of wine in the pyramid for a while. So, you know, the answer is yes. In
Charlie,
general,
is that like uncorking it and decanting it? Is that what you're saying? I mean, what's it going to do to the wine?
well, it seems to, in red wine particularly, it seems to take the acidity out of the taste.
So it's like decanting.
Yes, essentially. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that makes me think about the design of the wine racks or whatnot. I think Lori said she had thought about winery going on. It seems like it kind of had the angles also, right? The ones I've seen in the past. Yeah. That may play a part.
Yeah. Another question from Royal Alvarez. Is there a way we can generate electricity using the pyramid? From
We're
the
slowly getting there.
Yeah, from the Russian research, there are indications that when they built these larger pyramids, they would put capacitors at the top of the pyramids, and not only would they spontaneously generate, but the capacitors would blow off the top of the pyramid and fly up into the air. So I think the answer is yes. There's actually, although we haven't confirmed it yet with Bill and Lori, some of the research information that I'm finding on the internet about these geometries and the Tartarian architecture in general indicates, yes, there were abilities to generate electricity. So,
Yeah, Charlie, and I think in the Dan A. Davidson PDF file, I believe the way he put it was that when you have a higher density of etheric energy, then you have a gradient in electricity. So the top of the pyramid where the etheric energy is at a higher concentration would have a gradient with respect to the bottom of the pyramid. And then you could get basically a voltage difference.
Right.
yeah.
Charlie, has anybody tried to build one of these with bamboo? Because I have a bunch of bamboo I've cut at a friend's house, and I was thinking of trying to build a larger pyramid outside using bamboo, but it's not perfectly straight. Some of the pieces will be perfectly straight or close. Some of them curve a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it and maintain the slant angle.
I have not done it. I guess the question I would ask, would bamboo provide do you think, a better building material than wood would? I mean, it's hollow and it's circular.
I think it would be good. Yeah, I think it would work.
Okay.
So, no, to my knowledge, no one that I know of has done that. So it's probably worth trying.
Okay, and I will say that I did see a gentleman do a presentation, and one of the things that he was showing was that the Native American teepees, have the same type of design to them. There's really, they're more of a cone, however, right?
Yes, that's right. But a cone, just a cone can be viewed as a pyramid with an infinite number of sides. So, if we put eight, visualize putting 8 sides to the pyramid in 1632, you ultimately end up with a circle.
Right.
So I think that would be correct. Another question, would building a pyramid similar to Wilhelm Reich's orgone accumulator create a higher energy? He layered it with organic, then inorganic, organic, then inorganic.
Great question.
I'm going to know.
Okay.
So say that again, Charlie.
Yeah, the question is, would building a pyramid similar to Wilhelm Reich's orgone accumulator create a higher energy? He layered it with organic, then inorganic compounds in layers. So I think what he's saying is, if you built a pyramid with this layering of organic and inorganic compounds, would that improve things? I will say this: we have tested some desktop orgonite pyramids in the past, and we didn't find that energy was particularly good. So I'll kind of leave it at that, because I'm not sure, unless you give us some more precision.
Well, I think what they're
that
asking
answers
is
your
the
question.
accumulator, Charlie, is kind of like a box, and you sit in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I guess what they're saying is, if you turned the box into a pyramid, then with the same materials,
Yeah,
would that be any different than its original intended use?
right. And the only thing I have to go on there is the organite. You know, I have one close by, but that has that alternating layer in it. And it didn't seem to work all that well.
I think that the challenge may be that the layering includes metal, and we've found that metal is
Exactly.
interrupting the energy field or
Yeah, they
making it.
recommend like steel wool
Yeah.
layer.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, I think it's a different principle. I think the pyramid
it is.
creates a three-dimensional etheric flow where
Right.
the accumulator just concentrates the energy in the direct environment.
I think you are correct.
It
Yes.
basically traps it by the layering.
Okay. Peter Bagshaw's asking, these discussions may lead us towards the Tartarian technology. Could this be a discussion in further videos? Absolutely. That's why I'm spending a lot of time on it. I'm going to be putting some information together. But Peter, if you have some information on that as well, get in touch with me, because there's a lot of information out there I'm trying to absorb, and any help along the way and finding, particularly good videos and so forth would be helpful. And also, if you have knowledge yourself, we'd invite you to join us to discuss that. Should pyramids be grounded is a question. Next question.
I'll take that
Yeah.
question. I think if you're going to spend a lot of time in your pyramid, you have to be grounded. You must ground yourself afterwards, otherwise you're going to have a lightheaded, dizzy feeling. Yes, I say yes.
What's the best way to do that, Lori? Just barefoot on the earth, or using
I love that idea, Robert, is barefoot to the earth, but also just imagining yourself completely rooted into the earth is a good way as well.
Animals also, I believe. I feel I could be wrong.
I would agree. Root vegetables are really good as well, keeping yourself grounded.
Okay. Another question. People using nano, iron, or aluminum, copper, gold in organite. Does gold or higher vibe metals work better in organite? I don't have an answer for that.
I would not use organite inside the pyramid. I just wouldn't do it. Yeah.
I mean,
and then aluminum, what would be the purpose? I know we used to see those, taking a strainer and putting aluminum on the bottom of it, acting as if we're getting aliens or trying to connect with aliens. In the pyramid, if you have the intention to connect with positive aliens, you absolutely can. That's totally up to you.
Okay. To maybe try to answer that a slightly different way, I'm not sure how it was intended, but the research from Russia indicates that base metals are harmful, like copper and iron and so forth, but that precious metals such as gold, silver, aluminum, platinum would not be harmful. So that may be part of the question as well.
I was wondering something like shungite.
Right.
Yes, I'm wearing some right now.
Yeah. To my knowledge, I have a piece of shungite on right now as well. I wear it all the time, so I don't think it's a negative inside the pyramid. Another question about grounding mats inside the pyramid. That's all it says is grounding mats ? So I assume they're asking, are they effective for grounding?
I would say no.
Okay.
I think we did that, off camera. We talked about that.
Right. I put quartz I put quartz sand in a box inside the pyramid and I stand on it. Is this a good idea? I can't see any reason why putting quartz sand inside of a box, if it's a wooden box inside your pyramid, will be harmful. We put it inside the pipes of the pyramids along the base.
And, you know, I mean, I understand their concept and why they might be doing that, but I don't see where it's creating a positive thing. So it's not harming them by any means, but I don't feel like it's creating anything more.
Okay. All right. Well, we have, I think, run out of questions for this week, so it's probably time to summarize here. We thank all of you who joined us live today, and as well, tell your friends to link up live now from here on out to the extent that you can, because we enjoy having the ability to talk and have you express your opinions directly to the group. So, Bill and Laurie, any closing comments for today?
No, this was fantastic. I loved it. So,
okay. Bill?
As always, this was really fun.
Okay. Well, we'll see you all again next Monday. That would be January 27th on Pyramid Quest, noon Eastern time. And until then, we thank you for watching, and you have a great day.
Thanks, Charlie.